My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Well, you've heard a lot about investing in multifamily properties, apartment buildings, but have you heard of investing in vintage apartment buildings? Well, if you haven't, stay tuned for today's episode because our special guest is Adrian Pannozzo, who is doing exactly that. And Adrian, I've interviewed him a couple of times. Last time was way back in 2022. You can check that out on how he does big burrs. So Adrian, welcome back to the show. Great to have you.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
So Adrian, I kind of gave you a little introduction there just to tease people about what you're up to, but maybe you can give us a little snapshot of what real estate investing looks like 2025, Adrian Pannozzo and gang. What are you guys up to?
Yeah, so as of late, Dave, our bread and butter has been turning over vintage apartment buildings. As you mentioned, essentially buying underperforming apartment buildings ranging anywhere as small as 10 units, as big as 50 units, and everything in between. Mm-hmm. And essentially performing some strategic renovations, raising that net operating income of the building, and ultimately taking that building to a CMHC refinance and extracting most, if not all, of our equity capital we have in that particular project. So we've done that at a very high level since we last spoke in 2022, you said? Yep. Yeah. So we've grown our portfolio now. We're pushing 515 doors.
Congratulations. Nice.
Yeah, it's grown substantially since you and I last spoke. And again, that's all through joint venture partnerships, through different investors that have wanted to work with us in the multifamily space. Over the last, over the last year and a bit, we've done a bit of a pivot and we're into the development space. So we're building apartment buildings now, essentially, ground up, brand new. And the reason for the pivot, essentially, is the CMHC financing we can get on new construction is second to none, really. It's amazing. So a lot of our projects, again, new builds, these buildings we're building now, they qualify under the CMHC program for 95%, as they call it, loan to cost, loan to value, loan to cost.
Yeah.
They use the word loan to cost in new development. So, I mean, it's like a first time home buyer. You have to put 5% down to buy your first home. We're building
to build your first apartment building, huh?
Right?
But not even your 5%.
first.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's the incentives are great.
Now, are there restrictions around that? Do you have to build them for affordable housing? Do you have to, make sure they're green? What are the rules and regulations, big picture, around getting that 95%
so under the CMHC MLI program, it's a program under the CMHC model. You have different targets you can hit to achieve maximum amount of points. Maximum amount of points will get you to the 95% loan to cost, get you a 50-year amortization on top of the 95%.
Wow.
And some of those items are obviously energy efficiency, affordability, and accessibility. So wheelchair accessible units as well, to achieve maximum points. So depending on, again, every deal is different. Every land is different. Every building we're building, the numbers are slightly, different. Depending on those numbers, we incorporate either one of those models to achieve where we want to be, meaning energy efficiency, or we'll incorporate, accessibility or affordability to achieve it. It just depends on how the numbers play out with our underwriting. But ultimately, the pivot was mainly because of that. And, I'll be honest with you, the vintage buildings did us very well for a number of years, probably since we last spoke. Um, the, um, the whole media and surrounding, I guess, flavor of the cash for keys and this whole rent eviction thing with tenants doesn't has been a bit of a challenge. Needless to say, we've been successful, mind you, turning over these buildings with vintage tenants. And we pay them quite generously. Typically, if they're interested in working with us, we pay them quite generously to leave. It's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah,
lot of work.
I would
And
imagine. So just to give the listeners who aren't familiar with this, Adrian's based in Ontario, Canada. They have some of the strictest landlord-tenant rules in the country, favoring the tenants by and large.
yeah, needless to say.
So a big issue has been, especially with these older buildings, there's been a lot of stink about some unscrupulous landlords really pushing tenants out in order to, renovicting these tenants. And what Adrian's talking about is the way they were doing it. They were very, very generous with them, but it's still, there's some blowback, there's some hassle, there's a lot of hassle. So that I would imagine that would be one of the biggest bottlenecks in that business model is you buy a building, it's got a bunch of tenants in these old units, and a bunch of these tenants are just about as old as the building. So it's they've been in there for a long time. So working around them, working with them makes it very, very challenging to kind of rehab these kind of properties. Am I getting the gist there, Adrian?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's
Mm.
possible, and we've been successful. Like you obviously growing our portfolio now to over 500 doors
Mhm.
since we last spoke. I think when we last spoke, we were at about 200 and change or so. So yeah, it's worked. We've done well, but it's a ton of work, and
Mhm.
you have to deal with that, and obviously. Yeah, it's now dealing with new development. It's been a breath of fresh air, right?
Okay.
You're
Yeah, because you're
basically
starting from scratch,
you're not dealing
and
with that at all. And
yeah,
the only real, I guess, city involvement is obviously dealing with the building department and getting your permits and all that kind of stuff. But
passing
as far as
inspections, all that stuff. Yeah.
the cash for keys go, no. So that plus the combined, like I said, the attractive CMHC financing. So we're building like we have 8 builds on the go this year.
Wow. How many have you completed already? Have you completed any, Adrian?
None completed, all in the
Okay.
works
Got it.
at the moment. Um, so we're on track to build 110 doors this year.
Okay. So there's
Through those
smaller multifamily properties.
smaller, we're ranging because we want to avoid the site plan approval process
Okay.
in development. So site plan approval will add a bunch of different layers of the project, obviously extending the time. There's more testing. There's a lot more involved. And typically over 10 units, you need SPA site plan approval.
Mm,
And that now takes, let's say, a 14-month build into 2+ years
mm,
going that big. So again, getting our feet wet, getting started in this space, avoiding the site plan approval process, 10 units, purpose built, slab on grade, no basement. Um,
yeah.
10
No basement.
units,
Do you have balconies?
balconies,
Do you have
two
elevators?
bedrooms,
Do you avoid
no
elevators?
elevators.
Yeah. Smart. Yeah.
No elevators, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Our units are about 900 square feet each.
Okay.
They're all 2 beds, 2 baths. So nice layouts. 900 is a decent size
Yeah.
for a 2 bedroom unit. Um, yeah, above ground parking as well to avoid any issues with underground stuff. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling
Would
in that
would this
space.
be kind of classified as like workforce housing, or how would you classify this caliber of property?
Yeah, I would say that. I would
Yeah.
say that. I think
Afford
that's
not
okay.
not well, in some cases, I guess affordable housing, right? If to get some of that
Yeah, if you got the
CMHC stuff.
affordability component.
Yeah. Hey, so
Yeah.
maybe to paint us a picture, walk us through. You got 7 or 8 on the go right now. Walk us through one of them. Maybe tell me the story of, how you found the property, what kind of building, how many units you're building on that, which of those CMHC programs you're going
Mhm.
for, and then kind of walk us through what your plans are in the future for that building, what the exit strategy or the hold strategy is for that.
Yeah. So I can pick any one of them, but
Yeah.
essentially this particular property, let's call it 60 feet wide by 200 feet deep, for example.
What was on it before?
A small bungalow.
Just a single family home. Got it.
Single family home, great size lot, 60 by 200, so nice and deep. Obviously we get our demolition permit and our build permit. Obviously there's a bunch of stuff that happens before that on the technical side of things.
So did you buy it already rezoned for multifamily, or did you have to go through all that process?
These are in the proper zoning area for multifamily. So we don't have to go through a zoning amendment and all that kind of stuff. And obviously the preliminary stuff, working with your architects, your engineers, all that technical stuff, your phase one reports, you need a geotechnical report, test the soil, all this technical
stuff.
How
long did that stuff take?
By the time we get our permits start to finish, probably be 4 months, 4.5 months, give or take. And then obviously the existing structure gets demolished. And then like I said, we're slab on grade, no basements, poured concrete. The actual structure of the build is a stick frame. So it is wood frame. It's not all concrete poured building. So with 10 units, we can still use, other than the foundation, we can still use wood to frame everything out.
How many stories is it?
3-story. It's approximately 10,500 square feet.
Okay.
Give or take. Again, all 2-bedroom units as well, 3 stories. On-site parking, either depending on the lot and how it's all situated, either there's parking at the front, we accommodate the 10 spots at the front, or the buildings push more to the front of the property and the parking at the rear. What else? Our build time we're averaging, taking it to completion, 1.5 years, which really isn't that bad when you think about it, because a lot of the vintage buildings we did, let's say we did a 20-unit vintage building or a 15-unit vintage building, by the time we turned those units over and worked with every tenant to vacate and pay or relocate or this or that, and then perform the subsequent renovations unit by unit by unit, we were 2 years there anyway.
Oh, I bet, at least. Not only that, but with those old properties, I don't know if you had the hassles of, the historical thing and having to go through all that malarkey
there's always something.
Yeah, and then God knows what you find behind the walls once you start digging around, right? So
exactly
having to update the entire electrical and plumbing system and God knows what. So I can see building from scratch definitely being a breath of fresh air for you, because
overall, it's a clean slate, right?
Yeah.
So so 1.5 years is still a great turnaround time, in my opinion.
So the one that you're describing, which of the CMHC programs did you go for with that? Like,
we did energy efficiency and we did affordability. So those two combined with the numbers, and I'm not a CMHC underwriter, so with our commercial analyst and underwriting team, that was enough to get us where we need to be with the 95% loan to cost.
Oh, nice.
And we were able to secure that with CMHC. So once we get our permits, obviously, then we start demolition and construction. And the file.
And how does the 95% financing work, actually, Adrian? Do you have to come up with the 5% down? Is that usually where you bring in the joint venture partners for your deals?
Correct. Yeah. So the JV, the capital partners bring in that amount of capital, and obviously we execute from there. CMHC, then once the file is approved, you got to front that first 5% to get the project off the ground. Once the file is approved with CMHC, then they start to fund and send you tranches over as per your loan commitment with them. And then there's a quantitative surveyor involved. So he's the construction
He kind of makes sure you're doing what you say you're doing.
accountant. He makes
Yeah.
sure like he's hired by us, but he reports to CMH, the lender,
Okay.
CMHC, and he goes over all of our, invoicing, all of our money spent, so on and so forth, our progress in the construction project, and then he's communicating with the lender. Okay, they've reached that milestone. I've reviewed their invoicing. Everything's on the up and up. Next tranche.
Got it. Yeah, that
So
makes
it's a
sense. Like a
very, like,
construction
there's no
loan.
funny business. It's a very detailed process, obviously throughout it. So, and he's like Inspector Gadget. He's looking at everything and the
Yeah.
progress, the money, the invoicing, and making sure everything's on the up and up. And then only then does he communicate and say, okay, release the
And
next
you have
tranche.
to pay him for the privilege.
And we that's on our dime. Yeah, that's on our dime.
Of
So
course it is. Yeah, but that makes sense. So, Adrian, fascinating stuff. And then it's lots of advantage there. 50-year amortization. What about the term of the loan? What does that typically look like?
5 year.
5 year, then you have
The
to renew.
CMHC here in Ontario, CMHC does either a 5 year fixed term or a 10 year.
Hmm.
Those are your only choices. You can't do a 2 year or a 1 year or a variable. You're either 5 or 10. Period.
Okay. And these days, at the time of this recording, what does that typically look like? What kind of interest
Right
rate
now
is
we're
it?
hovering around 4%. Excuse me, 4%.
For
High
5 years?
threes, low
What would it
fours.
be for 10? Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
Maybe a bit cheaper. Maybe a
Really?
bit cheaper.
The
I
dumb
have an
question.
option for
Why
10.
wouldn't you do 10?
Our commitment with our capital partners is we ask for a minimum of a 5 year hold,
Got it.
just to see that appreciation and whatnot. And then after 5 years, our capital partners can cash in, sell the building, keep the building. Like I always say, hey, if the building's running well, we're cash flowing, it's carrying itself. Let's hold it forever.
So then it basically a refinance at the 5 years, try to pull out
Yeah,
a chunk of
a
their.
new mortgage or refinance at that 5 year mark.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we could offer 10, but a lot of guys want the option
I
to
hear you.
cash in at that 5 year mark.
Yeah, okay, that makes a ton of sense. So Adrian, yeah, fascinating stuff. You got, what did you say, 8 of these projects on the go right now?
Yeah.
So do you have 8 teams? Do you subcontract all of this out? How does the construction side of things actually work?
So we have our own construction company that deals with a lot of it. We also sub out a lot of it as well. It's a combination of both. Using our guys, subbing some stuff out. We have obviously a dedicated construction manager at our projects, at our sites as well, that we hire. So yeah, it's a lot, but again, like with everything, if you have the right team and you're surrounded by good people that have been in this space, and our construction managers that we've hired have been in this game for a long time. So I'm confident, and obviously it shows in their abilities to manage our projects and whatnot. But yeah, it's a combination of both our people and some subcontractors and stuff like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Adrian, it's always great catching up with you. Congratulations on making this pivot. So you've gone from the vintage apartments to the exact opposite, building brand new ones from
stuff. Yeah.
scratch.
Yeah.
But it makes a ton of sense, right? It's just, yeah, starting with that clean slate. But I would imagine all of that experience in the vintage stuff and the construction and the renovations, that translates easily to the new venture.
It's been some great experience for sure, Dave.
Yeah. So if people want to find out more and connect with you, excuse me, where should they go?
Yeah, they can visit our website, Generational Wealth Creators.
Mm-hmm.
is our website. We're all over the internet.
Mhm.
Or just Google my name. We're all over social media. But to keep it simple, if you go to our website, you can definitely learn a lot more about what we're doing, our projects on the go, so on and so forth. Very easy, searchable. Like I said, all over social media as well.
Generationalwealthcreators.ca is the website. Adrian, thanks very much for being on the show. Great connecting with you again.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, everybody, take care. See you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.